Stanford wrestling is saved. This is not a joke. This is not a fake headline. This is legit. Stanford wrestling will continue to have a program into the upcoming seasons and beyond. This was huge news shared today, and it blew my mind that this has actually happened. This is really happening. The announcement came from the San Francisco Chronicle, and Ann Killian, the author of the article, stating that Stanford will not cut any sports programs. And the stunning reversal, and I'm going to get into the article because this is unbelievable. Stanford has been fighting this battle for the last 8 months between these 11 sports programs with wrestling, fencing, field hockey, rowing, sailing, squash, synchronized swimming, volleyball, across men's and women's sports. So let's look at this article, which says that in a stunning reversal of a decision that created national shockwaves, Stanford University is reinstating all 11 varsity sports programs that it planned to eliminate. Now, Stanford hasn't actually made this announcement official yet. They plan to release a press release later on in the day. It comes about more than 10 months after Stanford abruptly stated it would cut more than a third of its varsity sports programs. But last week, 2 lawsuits were filed against the university in federal court brought by athletes on the targeted teams. This was actually crazy, and interestingly enough, what this article states is that these lawsuits were filed after Stanford had already made its decision to not cut these programs, to not eliminate these programs. So we'll see where this goes, where this lawsuit will actually go, and see what exactly happens. This is, as it states kind of in the article, the original rationale offered for cutting the 11 teams was economic. And I know that there's been a lot of controversy behind that between whether there was actually a financial impact to the school or not. And this is just crazy here. The original source is down in the description below, as well as the story on FancoWrestling.com. But can you believe that Stanford wrestling is saved? And I'm going to get into a couple of the questions that now arise with the program being reinstated. So Shane Griffith, I mean, his impact just cannot be understated enough. Shane Griffith, the 2021 NCAA champion at 165 pounds, came and won the national championship as his first tournament, his first NCAA tournament, and he wins it. Not even wearing a Stanford singlet. I mean, that was one of the biggest parts of this is the Stanford wrestlers didn't even wear Stanford singlets. They had a plain black singlet, and they were representing Keep Stanford Wrestling and not the Stanford University. And I think that brings up a couple of the questions because, I mean, Stan Griffith's impact was huge. But who is going to stay? Will he stay? Will Shane Griffith stay? Will these other wrestlers stay? They've said before, there are certain wrestlers who've said that they're going to stay at the university should it be reinstated, but they have all entered the transfer portal. So we'll see as the weeks go on if they decide to pull back or not, but you have to think it probably leaves some sort of bad taste in their mouth about this whole experience, getting a program cut, as it did across the entire country. I mean, guys from Fresno State being cut this year. Guys from Old Dominion being cut in past years. Eastern Michigan. I mean, this is a story that keeps repeating itself. Also, who will be the new Stanford head coach now that Jason Borelli is at American? He's at American now. So, I mean, he's not going to go back. And I don't blame him for wanting to secure a new position since Stanford had cut his job. He didn't know what was going to happen with him. So now that he's at American, who is going to step up and be Stanford's new head coach? And then why was the program cut? You know, that I think that's one of the big things that everybody keeps asking is why was this an issue? Why were these 11 sports programs cut? And Stanford keeps giving these excuses and their rationale, but nobody seems to believe them. But with Stanford Wrestling now raising over $12 million for their program, they are back, as well as these 11 other sports. This is just huge news. I am elated. I'm excited. I'm pumped for Stanford Wrestling to continue on in the upcoming years.